a place to go start. And this was a great opportunity. Had a ton of respect for Coach Quinn. What he's been able to accomplish in his career, and the opportunity here looked like I had a great opportunity to come in and compete. That's all I wanted. I'm not looking for, here's a job. That's not what I need. I want a place that I can come in and compete. A ton of respect for the guys in Kansas City. But I enjoyed my role there. But I think that I had gotten to the point in my career where I wanted to come in. I wanted to be a starter week one. And that's my goal, coming to Washington.
Sorry, just to clarify, did they tell you you'll be the starter at left guard?
No, that's not what I'm looking for. I knew that they had some vacancies. Sam, Cosme is here from the year before, but I knew that center and left guard were open, and then they brought in Tyler, obviously, at center. But left guard's a spot that I'm looking at. I want to be the starter there. We'll never expect anybody to give me a job. I don't care about that. I want to earn that job, and I think I have a good opportunity here.
Nick, Scott Abraham, ABC7, welcome to Washington.
Thank you.
Obviously, congrats again on another Super Bowl. But during that game, you hurt your elbow. How's the elbow? What's the rehab, and any limitations there?
Yeah, the elbow's doing well. I was fortunate to got my opinion from the Chiefs doctor while I was there, and then 4 second opinions, and it was all no surgery opinions. It's feeling really good. I honestly, if we're playing today, I'm playing. Fortunately, we don't have to play in March, which is great. But yeah, it's at a spot where I feel really good with it. We're getting close to the point where we're no longer rehabbing it as a tear, nor strengthening it as elbow pain, which is awesome. It's a really good spot for me to be in. It's about 4 weeks ahead of where I would expect to be. So I'm really, really happy with where that's at. But yeah, I expect no limitations from that.
Nick, you've won 3 Super Bowls. It's hard enough winning one. How do you bring that winning mentality, that winning vibe here to Washington, and how does that maybe get you even more hungrier to go get another one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one, you hit it on the head there. When you win a Super Bowl, you see how, trying to not swear, first interview here, you see how awesome it is. It is really, it's amazing. It is one of the greatest feelings in the world to work your whole life for something, to work a whole season for something, and then get to that end of the year and, accomplish that goal. And when you do it, you're like, man, you want it again. And the biggest thing that I can bring is just, there's an aspect of really caring that the guys in that locker room had in Kansas City that I truly believe I have, and that's what I'm going to try to be here, is caring about the product that you put out every single day at practice, every single day in the weight room, and then every day you compete, whether it's walkthrough, game day. It is hard to show up every single day, work as hard as you possibly can for one goal when one of 32 teams is going to achieve that ultimate goal. But that is something that, I hope to bring to this locker room, and, truly loving the game of football, caring for the sport, caring for those guys in the locker room, and then just competing our asses off.
And Nick, John Kine from ESPN, you sat behind some good players, or played behind some good players. But when did you know that you're ready to go out and be that guy as a starter?
I knew that prior to this past year. I would say probably – I started a bunch of games my second year, and then when I was asked to step in for Joe in my 4th season against Aaron Donald, that was probably – I didn't know I was starting until 2.5 hours before the game. He was, declared out, and it's about as challenging of a task as there is in this league, outside of probably blocking a couple of the guys we have here. And I was able to go out there, compete my butt off, and played a good game, and that was a huge confidence builder for me. To last second be thrown into the fire against an elite player like that, and be happy with the product that I put on the field. That was the point where I really truly felt like, yeah, I can be starting every day in this league. And it's that fire built up for the rest of that season, last season. It's tough, showing up every day, preparing for 3 different jobs, as a backup, and I loved that role that I had. I loved, my time in Kansas City, but I felt like a starter. I knew that I could be a day one starter, and that's what I'm here to prove.
And then, what did you learn about yourself playing with that elbow injury in the Super Bowl?
Just that I could persevere through, more than maybe I thought I could. I remember when it happened. I was pacing around. It was the 2-minute warning, and a couple guys asked me if I was okay, and my answer was no, because I was like, yeah, I had an injury like that in the past, but I immediately knew that something was wrong. I don't know, a bunch about anatomy, but something's wrong with my elbow there. But when we were able to brace it up, it bent. I was like that, I can bend my elbow. That works. That helps. So I was able to persevere a lot more than I thought I could, and that was something I'm really proud of. I take a lot of pride in, the job that we have as football players and completing the job to the best of our ability. And if there's any way for me to stay on that field, I'm going to do it.
Can I ask real quick, what did that feel like trying to play with that? How painful was that? It
was the first time that I had to play through something like that. It was a challenge because being in this Super Bowl, it's such an incredible experience. And as soon as it happened, I was like, yeah, I knew something was wrong. I knew it was my UCL area. That's it. I didn't know if it was the muscles, the ligaments, what it was. And there was a lot of anger when it happened because I was like, man, am I going to have to pull myself out of the Super Bowl? And then the pain, I realized there was going to be pain, but it wasn't a limiting factor. I still had my right hand, which, I'm a right-hand dominant player, which was awesome. And then, the pain, it wasn't, once I went into halftime and realized it was gone, I was like, well, I'm not going to tear it anymore. So as long as I could handle the pain, and, compete and not hurt the team, there was no reason for me to come out. It was just, a couple more hours of pain. It ended up being a 4.5 hour game. I didn't need that, definitely. But, it was wild for sure.
Hey, Nick, Ben Standard with The Athletic. Your description there of dealing with that pain is making me feel bad about screaming about my stub toe a few minutes ago. So thanks for that. No, just kidding. Just curious, obviously, when you're playing a team like the Chiefs, a Super Bowl contender year in, year out, there's a lot that goes on to that. There's always distractions the players have to deal with. But when there's going to be a lot of young guys on this team, what would you tell them about just sort of how to deal with that? Because obviously for you guys, it was on the field and there was some noise off the field as well.
There's a ton of distractions in this league, but the opportunity that we get, and this I'll speak personally for myself. I get the chance to play football for a living. It's incredible, and it is a rare opportunity that millions of kids every single year want, and tens of thousands of guys every single year want, and there's 2,000 guys in this league that really get that opportunity. So if you have this opportunity, don't take anything for granted. Handle the distractions however you need to, however you see fit. I'm not going to call family a distraction. That's a reality. Handle family how you have to, handle friends how you have to, and then the outside stuff, limit it to the best of your ability, because there is a short window we get to play football. Most people don't even ever get to this period. So if you make it to this period, take advantage of it. Try to be in this league as long as you possibly can, and don't let a distraction be the reason you have to end your career.
And it sounds like you and your agent did plenty of research before you determined which path you wanted to go to. What was your sense, I guess, of what a Cliff Kingsbury offense might be and what a Bobby Johnson coached offensive line might be?
So I had obviously Cliff had a lot of experience with Pat, and Pat had talked a ton about Cliff just throughout the years. They were very close. They talked, I couldn't tell you how often, but very frequently. And the positive way that Pat talked about him, so immediately I knew, all right, I'm going to love playing for Cliff. And then I spoke with my prior offensive line coaches throughout college, NFL, whatever it was, on Coach Bobby Johnson, and knew that he was going to lead, an incredibly tough room, but, comfortable room. You're not going to have to be intimidated to ask questions. You're going to be encouraged to ask questions. And I really like that mentality because I think that offensive line, you need 5 guys working together. So if there's guys that are not, comfortable asking a question, or, they may not know exactly, the angle on a run play, or, how we want to attack a play action play, then the plays aren't going to be successful. So I know that he was a very open-minded coach, and he likes working with his players. That was one thing that, Pat said is, Cliff is a very open-minded. He likes ideas. He likes listening to ideas from his players, which is awesome to hear. And then, I had known a lot about Coach Quinn just from watching him throughout his career. But he also spoke with some of his players from the past to, get their perspective on how he was as a coach. And honestly, O-line coach, OC head coach, I got nothing but positive feedback. So from doing my own research, on those coaches, it was, I don't want to say no-brainer because there was a lot of, tough decisions, in this situation. But I was really, really excited to have this opportunity.
Hey, Nick, Mitch Tischler with Monumental Sports. To that extent, you had the nice touchdown catch in the playoff game. How long is it going to take you to get into Cliff's office and give him an idea for something like that?
I'll pitch my ideas if I can, but I don't mind being 100% on my catching career. I'll take it 1 for 1 catch, 1 touchdown. I may leave it there, but I'll definitely float some ideas his way. See what he thinks.
Hi there, Nick. Candy Waller from Bowie TV here. Can you share a bit and just describe your approach to the game and your position as the offensive lineman, overall success of the offense? What do you bring to this offensive line?
Physicality is my number one attribute, I believe. Physicality and effort. I think that if you can get 11 guys playing as hard as they possibly can, you're going to win a lot of football games because it's a challenge to find 11 guys that can play, or 20 guys, whatever an offense will be composed of, so they can play 80 snaps as hard as they possibly can. It's a challenge. It's a challenge to find those guys, but that starts with OTAs and training camp. And I think that effort it's one of the few things that we can control. Physicality you can control as well, and that's a style thing. That's definitely one of my styles. If I were a more athletic type player, like some of these 6'7" tackles, maybe it wouldn't be, but physicality is what I've had to lean on. So physicality and effort are really the 2 things that I can control, because I know I'm going to have to block some incredible athletes. So the things that I can control, I want to control, and I think those 2 things are 2 of my best attributes.
Last one. All right. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.